You are watching Frankly Speaking Sports, live from Charlotte, North Carolina. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Panthers. I'm your host, Larry Frank, and I want to let everybody get on tonight. I know on different platforms, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, among some other ones around the country. So we'll give you all a couple of minutes to get on. What a great show we have for you. In about 15, 20 minutes, we're going to have the great Stephen Davis. That's right. Stephen Davis is supposed to be joining us at around 9:20 p.m. Former Carolina Panther, all-pro running back, led the team to Super Bowl XVIII. So an incredible show planned for you today. Want to let you know it's scrolling on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and try to do some phone calls if you want to call in and talk about the Carolina Panthers tonight. We'll keep an open phone line. If you call in and somebody's on the phone, just wait till they get off. We'll go ahead and pick it up. Also, you can leave messages right on the comment section. Leave it on the comment, and we'll get to your questions as soon as we can. Want to welcome everybody to our Frankly Speaking Panthers show. For those of you that have not watched this show yet, you are in for a treat. Can you please do me a favor? If you take a moment and share this to your timeline, I would surely appreciate it. We want to welcome Jeff from all the way from Sandusky, Ohio on our show tonight. Thank you, Jeff, for joining in. But, the big news this whole week is the roster's been cut down to 53. But before we get to the 53-man roster for your Carolina Panthers, we want to let everybody know that despite cutting the roster down to 53, they went ahead and signed 12 players to the practice squad today. And for those of you that did not hear it, real quickly, we will name those players for you. The 12 players that have been added to the Carolina Panthers practice squad is cornerback Rashawn Melvin and Jalen Julius. Offensive linemen, two of them, Sam Tecklenburg, Aaron Monteiro. Running back Rodney Smith, and I was happy to see them be able, and Spencer Brown did clear waivers, so he is now back with the team on the practice squad. And here's a kid that I really like. At wide receiver, we got back Keith Kirkwood, Omar Bayless, and CJ Saunders is on the practice squad. Tight end Steven Sullivan, defensive lineman Frank Haran, and safety Kenny Robinson. So those are the guys that we've gotten back on the practice squad. So things are gearing up. Now, let me explain something about the 53-man roster for you all. For those of you that don't know, just because they named a 53-man roster doesn't mean that the same exact guys will be on the team a week and a half from now. A lot of things happen. A lot of people might clear waivers. There may be people out there that the Panthers are trying to get, but there is a certain number order when you deal with waivers. And each team gets to either pass on the player or take the player. Obviously, if they take the player's off the board. So you never know what might happen. They're going to try to build some depth. They're going to try to make some moves. And they're going to try to put the best team in place. Now, I know some of you, and you got to understand this, folks. We fall in love with players. We love the Carolina Panthers. Everybody that's a Panther love, but there's going to be players that are either waived or cut by us that get opportunities somewhere else. Believe it was Miller today, went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, picked him up. Pittsburgh was number 8 on the list going through to be able to pass or he clears waivers. And obviously the Panthers didn't have clear waivers, so he went to Pittsburgh. Will Greer was picked up for the Cowboys. So a lot of former players being picked up by other teams. But when you look at our 53-man roster, and for those of you just joining us, we are about 15 minutes away from having Stephen Davis on with us. Let me see if there we go. But when you look at the quarterback situation, it looks like we're going right now. A lot of people talking about, do we bring Deshaun Watson in? Of course we're not going to bring Deshaun Watson in. Why would you want to bring a guy who has so much trouble right now going on legally to come in and distract the team? That's number one. Sam Darnold is your starting quarterback. P.J. Walker is the backup. And a lot of people have been asking my opinion about Cam Newton. Cam Newton, as you all probably know by now, released by the New England Patriots in the last 2 days. They decided to go with Mac Jones back there and keep Stidham as the backup. Cam Newton should not, and I would be very surprised if he is, be back in a Carolina Panther uniform. Now, this is not bashing Cam Newton. A couple things to understand. Cam is not the same player he was when he was in a Carolina Panther uniform. He's just not, okay? He was very good, did very well with his time here in Carolina. But as the years gone by, as he's gotten more injuries, he hasn't been performing up to the standard he did in Carolina. That's number one. Number two, you have Sam Darnold, who is your quarterback. Why would you want to bring a quarterback like Cam Newton in, who all it's going to do is cost a possible quarterback competition at the beginning of the season? That was something, if you wanted to do, you could have done earlier in the year, but you didn't. So what happens now? You can't start controversy on a team at the beginning of the year. You can't have Sam wondering on every single play that he's going to be questioned and they're going to go turn to Cam because he makes mistakes. You cannot have that. Some of you like that. Some of you think that's great. But if you're the player on the field, and for those of you that have never been on the field, I have been, it mentally drains you and affects the game on the field. You don't need that. The way you have it right now with Sam Darnold and P.J. Walker is the way that it needs to stay. Now, did I say that they won't bring him back? No. I said they shouldn't bring him back. And, only time is going to tell what they do. But for right now, I would be very, very, very surprised if we ever see Cam Newton in a Carolina Panther uniform unless they sign him to a one-day contract so he can retire as a Panther. But, like I said, you never know. So we'll watch. I think some team will pick him up. I just don't think it's going to be the Carolina Panthers. Now, when you look at our running back, I can't wait for the season to start. Folks, it's so hard to believe that already a week from tomorrow, Dallas at Tampa Bay kicks off the season on a Thursday night. Obviously, everybody in the Carolina area for that one day becomes a Dallas Cowboy fan as they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But, when you look at the running backs with McCaffrey, Cannon, and Hubbard, I really, really want to see how they use Chuba Hubbard. I'm a Spencer Brown fan. Everybody that watches my show knows that. But I like Chuba Hubbard as well. The only thing that really worries me about Chuba when he carries the ball is he can't lose grip of that football and cause us to turn over at the ball. And that's what the only thing that scares me. He's a young guy, wants to make things happen, But we'll see how that goes as things go on. But I like Chuba. I really do. I was so happy to see, and for those of you folks that are tuning in, we're about 10 minutes away from having the great Stephen Davis on with us. Want to let everybody know that this Monday coming up, we will do our NFL preview. We'll preview each division, who we think going to win. We do have Don Horn. What a great guest we have on Monday night for you. Don Horn, he was the backup quarterback. Listen to this, guys. Behind Bart Starr of the Green Bay Packers. He played under head coach Vince Lombardi. He was in Super Bowl II, the Super Bowl champion too, in Super Bowl II for the Green Bay Packers. So a great Monday night for you. Next week, Wednesday night on Frankly Speaking Panthers, our expected guest, we pretty much have made it official, will be former quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, Steve Berline, will be joining us next Thursday night. So we're looking forward to next week. Please make sure all shows are 9 p.m. But, one of, I think, the strongest areas here, and then next Wednesday, when we have Frankly Speaking Panther, we will be breaking down the entire the game with the Jets. We'll break it down, and besides Steve, we'll try to get somebody on from either the New York Post, the Daily News, one of those newspapers or one of those reporters out there in New York to talk about the Jets and how they're expecting the Jets to do, what their weaknesses, what's their strength. But going into this September 12th game, our expectations is this is a Jets team we should beat, we could beat, and I really believe we gotta beat, because you want to start off 1-0. You want to let people know the direction of this team is changing in a positive way, and the only thing you're concentrating on right now is the New York Jets. The practice squad is in place. They're already studying films on the New York Jets. New York Jets have a brand new quarterback. We'll talk about Zach Wilson, who's going to be playing. A great opportunity for this young, pesky defense we've been talking about all preseason to come out and really start off fast and aggressive versus a young man, Zach Wilson, and have him and force him to make lots of mistakes in that ballgame. But when we go around, probably our deepest area, folks, is wide receiver. I mean, you got DJ Moore. We did lose David Moore today. David Moore was let go by the team. So it's DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrence Marshall Jr., Brandon Zylstra, and of course, Shee Smith, who I think is hurt. I haven't heard the latest on him, but I think he's going to be out the first game. But that is a very, you add McCaffrey to that mix and Hubbard to that mix. That's a very potent and very dangerous receiving and offensive core. And, the key is going to come down to our offensive line, which we'll talk about in a minute. But another strong area is our tight ends, Dan Arnold, Ian Thomas, Tommy Tremble out of Notre Dame, who is another guy I'm a huge fan of. I think is going to play a major role. And then you got Colin Thompson. But, everybody seems to be scared about this offensive line. Everybody seems to be pessimistic about this offensive line. Everybody seems to be skeptical about this offensive line. And you know why? Because they should be skeptical of this offensive line. I mean, you got Cameron Irvin, who was showing some good things in the preseason. The one guy that hasn't been doing well and been, it's been a disappointment from the line perspective, I think, is Pat Elflein. And, what you got to realize, guy, is that when you have a guy like Elfane who's playing them and he's next to another guy, it could cost the other guy to play poorly because he's trying to make up for the weakness of Elfane. So they're going to have to make a decision on Elfane. Paradis will be fine. John Miller's another one that people have questions about. You got Taylor Moton. And then two guys that I think could play a major role and solidify this offensive line. It may take a little time. They need to get used to the speed of the game. But both of them did look like they did pretty well during the preseason. I love to get comments. If you want to go ahead and leave comments, if you want to call in, there's a number on the bottom. You can call in from any platform. The number here is 813-922-9810. You'll see that on the bottom scrolling through. Go ahead and call in. Give me your opinion or leave a comment like Jeff has done, and we'll try to answer your question as quickly as possible. But, the two guys that I think really will do well if they are given the time to play is going to be Brady Christensen and Deontay Brown. And I think the leash on Elfane is going to be very, very short from Coach Matt Rule. And if you don't see him doing a good job and he's not, if he's not holding his guy, protecting him passing, or getting stupid penalties that are costing the team big yards, I think you're going to go ahead and see him pull through Christensen or Brown. But, that is the big area of concern. And, there would be no better game to start out than the New York Jets to try to ease people's thought process up and to build the confidence of everybody surrounding this team as far as the protection for Sam Darnold. And remember, guys, if Sam's not given the time to throw the ball, as you all know, you become a one-dimensional team. And don't get me wrong, Christian McCaffrey is great, probably one of the best, if not the best, running backs in all of football. But if he's running the ball every time because your quarterback can't get protection, they're going to be able to stop him. So the only way to do this is you have to have a balanced offense. Last year, the Panthers threw the ball 60% of the time. They ran the ball 40% of the time, which is not a terrible average based on, based statistically. I think that one of the closest teams to 50-50 last year was actually the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, were right around 50-50, which is just a balanced offense. But remember, certain games, the passing game's going to go for you. Certain games, the running game. But if you can mix it up, you never know how damaging this could be. Now, we talked about the weakness of the offensive line possibly. But on the other side of the football, the strength could be the defensive line. And I'm checking my phone right now real quickly, folks, because I'm going to let Steven know that we are ready. Let me say we are. Let me make sure that. All right. We'll give him a couple of minutes. Hopefully, he will get our text message and he'll be on shortly. It's hard to read these things the way we're doing it, but hopefully Steven will be on in a few moments. We're about 2-3 minutes away from Steven Smith coming on. But we are talking Carolina Panther football. After the interview with Stephen Davis, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about vaccinations in the NFL. And does the NFL have the right to mandate its players or their employees to go ahead and have a mandatory vaccine? I'm going to give you my opinion on it. Remember, we agree to disagree. If you go to Frankly Speaking Sports, the page, you will see that there is a poll there. It asks the same questions, and almost double the amount of people are saying no. They do not have the right to mandate it. And we'll talk about that in full. Like I said, we're about a couple of minutes, 2 minutes away from having Stephen Davis on. So we're going to see. All right, we'll give him a few more minutes. Believe he's checking now how to get on, so that's perfect. So we already sent him the link, so we should get him on now in the next couple seconds. But what we're going to do now, folks, is we're going to take a quick station break to allow our stations to identify themselves. And we are about a minute away from having the great Stephen Davis on with us. Hold on 1 second, folks. Hello, Stephen. Hey, buddy, I just want to let you know I just sent you a link so that you can get on the show. It's like Zoom. It's StreamYard. It'll walk you right in. You can use a phone or a computer. Yeah. We're on live right now. So I don't know how long that's going to take. On shows, we only got so much time on the show. All right, buddy. I appreciate you, man. Bye-bye. All right, folks. So Stephen Davis will be right with us. Let's go ahead and take that station break. You are watching Frankly Speaking Sports, live from Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking Sports. We're about a minute away from having all-pro running back, former Carolina Panther, Stephen Davis on with us. Just got off the phone with him, as you heard. He should be on any moment. But we'll continue that conversation, and it's an unbelievable topic. I have my opinion on it. I'd love to get more opinions on it under the comment section. Just go to comment, leave a comment, and it will, give me your opinion. If you want to call in after we're done interviewing Stephen Davis, we'll reopen the phone lines. The number is on the bottom scrolling, so please go ahead and feel free to jot that number down, and you can go ahead and call us after the interview is over, and then we will put up another. I'm typing it now as we speak. The phone number as well. We'll put it up right now, actually, while we're waiting on Stephen. He's joining us now via video, so I'm just keeping an eye on my phone just to make sure if he has any questions. But he is coming on now, so we'll wait for him there. But that's the number you would call in on, 813-922-9810. And after we're done talking to Stephen, we'll go ahead and we will take your calls. But ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor, my great thrill, and most of all, a pleasure to introduce to you easily said the best running back to ever play for the Carolina Panthers. He was an all-pro 3 different times. He led the Carolina Panthers. I guess the way they say it's the 2003 season, 2004 Super Bowl, was Super Bowl 38. Let's welcome in Stephen David. Stephen, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good, buddy. Good. First of all, I want to thank you so very, very much for joining us on Frankly Speaking Sports this evening. I really do appreciate it. I know all the Carolina Panther fans out here appreciate it as well.
Yes, sir.
Hey, talk to me about this. And I always wondered from a veteran standpoint, somebody that was a starter in the league. We talk about the 53-man roster, which all the teams just got down to yesterday. But even though it's tough on the guys that trying out for the team that necessarily don't make the cut, it's got to be difficult on the veterans, too, to see these guys who they play with all preseason go as well.
Yeah, and when they breaking the teams down to 53-man roster, it's a hard decision for some of those general managers, and to be able to go in and pick the right players for your team, that's even harder because you're not only doing because of football ability, your talent, but it's also your personality and your attitude. So they got a lot of things they got to weigh in that gonna contribute to the teams, and some guys think it's the end of the road, but it's not. You put your work on film, and other teams see you, so they can come and grab you, snatch you up off of waivers or whatever. But it's a difficult decision. This is called what I used to call the dead season for me, because you don't know if you're gonna stay alive or you're gonna die.
So let me ask you this: 1996, you're drafted by the Washington Redskins. Your first 3 seasons, you're splitting time as a running back / you became a fullback, a position that seems to be pretty much going away in the NFL. I mean, I remember the old days with Rocky Blyer, Mark Van Egan, Darryl Johnston of the Cowboys, just to name Michael Allstott of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let me ask you, being a fullback those first 3 years, did it help you become a better all-around running back?
Yes, indeed, it did. It made me appreciate the fullback a lot more. And not only that, it taught me how to attack the offensive line, and as far as being a running back. And I learned a lot of things from playing fullback. You just gotta be able to do whatever they ask you can do, and if you can do more, it's better. So I took the opportunity and got myself better, and I was able to be on the field a lot more when I played fullback. So that helped me out a whole lot.
Now, when 1999, you go crazy. I mean, 1,400 yards rushing. I think you averaged 100 yards a game that year. What was it that – now, obviously, you became a starter. You were solo that year. But what was the big thing that changed or that came through that allowed you to be so successful that year?
Just getting the opportunity. I'll never forget, we was in preseason. We was scrimmaging Pittsburgh, and we did goal line. And I scored 3 times. And after that, Norv Turner told me after that scrimmage, he said, you're going to be our starter for the first preseason game. And I took advantage of it, man. First preseason game, we played Tampa. I run off like a 50-yard run and go to the sideline, and Norv said, it's your job to lose. So, I took it from there and made the best of it.
Now, after your time in Washington, you signed with the Carolina Panthers. What was it that made you or want you to come back to the Carolinas?
Well, I played college football in Auburn, and that was where a lot of my peoples and a lot of my family couldn't see me. And then I went to Washington, even though we played on TV a lot, and I had a lot of Washington fans in my family. coming back home to Carolina was one of the greatest things I could have done, if not being able to stay in Washington.
Now, you are only you're playing in Charlotte, 85 miles from where you played high school football. I mean, that's got to be real special to be. You were talking about you weren't too far away, but now everybody that knew you could not only if they couldn't get to the game, they could watch you on TV.
Yeah, exactly. And having the opportunity to come back home was one of the greatest things I could have done. I had my family at the games. Not only that, where we had training camp is where I played my high school football games at. So to being able to come back and let a lot of people see me play for the 3 years that I was there in Carolina was great, man. It's a great feeling.
Now, 2003, who can forget it? You come on another 1,400, yard year, 8 100 plus rushing games. Even better in the playoffs. I mean, I got a whole list of things, records you hold for Carolina in the playoffs. Talk about that year, 2003, your first year back in the Carolinas. You come back, you lead the team to the playoffs, and the team gets to the Super Bowl. First of all, talk about that season, how special it was, and when did you realize, was it before you came to Carolina, or when during the season that, hey, we have something really special here?
Well, the thing is, before I came, Coach Fox was already here, and he was one of those guys that believed in defense. You have a good defense, you can win a lot of games, and he knew having a good running game, you can also win a lot of games. So he, they brought me in, and he's one of those guys that say we're gonna run the ball, and coming from Washington with Steve Spurrier, that made my ears jump. And so doing and one thing that we did, we came together as a team. That we was a team more than just individuals. And defense played well. We ran the ball very well. Steve Smith and Muhsin Muhammad, they caught the ball very well as receivers. And we just had an overall good team, man. And we went through the season, and we was like 6-0 or 5-0, something like that. And we had to play Tennessee. And Tennessee came down there. Tennessee Titans came down there and whooped us. I mean, they put it to us real good. But after that game, if you could see the guys going back to work and how serious it was about losing, they had the same feelings I had. And to go back to work the way we did, I knew then that we had something special. And you can see it on the field, man, when guys made plays and guys was doing things that they wouldn't normally do. So it was a special team, and you had some special guys on that team.
Now, it's everybody's dream in the NFL that plays, obviously, to make the Super Bowl. That's your overall goal every year, to get to that game and to win the Super Bowl. How was the Super Bowl everything you expected, or was it more or less than you expected that week leading up to it, and of course the game?
Well, during the week, when you make it to the Super Bowl, you locked in mentally. You locked in mentally for us preparing, practicing, and going out and executing on that Sunday, the thing that you prepare for. And the thing that I really enjoyed about it is seeing my family have the experience of being at the Super Bowl, coming to see someone that's in their family, their dad, my wife, stuff like that. So it was a great feeling, man, and that was a special moment for me because my family did get to enjoy it, and I was more focused in on the game. I let them do what they had to do, what they wanted to do, but the Super Bowl is everything and more. That's the greatest sporting event in the world, and to be able to play in one of those was a even greater feeling.
Now, how hard was it for you not to be distracted with all the media hoopla? I mean, you every week you have a way you plan for a game, you get ready for a game, but the Super Bowl, there's so much media around, everybody's demanding so much of your time. Are you able to concentrate at the goal of why you're there?
Exactly, exactly. That's why we call professionals, because we can lock in, and I think that's some of the greatest attributes that we have as athletes is when the pressure is on, you lock in even more on something that you're trying to achieve, and that's what we did.
Now, Steven, the next season you got hurt. I don't remember exactly what the injury was, but how discouraging was that? And did you know when you got hurt that following year that your career was at jeopardy?
Um, I had what you call a microfracture, and it's a serious injury, and I had to stay out the whole year. And my thing was I always walk away from the game, and that's what I did. But that injury put a lot of doubt in my mind. But I came back and had a decent season, had a pretty good season. But when I was going through everything, I wanted to get back on the field. That way, motivated me even more to get back out there. When I got out there, I did very well.
Now, in 2008, February 27th, you signed a one-day contract with the Carolina Panthers so that you can retire as a Panther. What was your thought process in that, and how much did it mean to you, them signing you to that one-day contract?
It meant a lot, Like I say, I played 3 years there of my career. I played majority of them in Washington my whole career, but to be able to come home and retire on with your home team is the greatest feeling in the world, man. And I'm Mr. Richardson, he gave me a chance to do that, and Martin Herney, they gave me a chance to do that, and it was a great feeling, man. And I'm proud to be a retired Panther. But you got to remember too, I am a Redskin as well.
Oh, I haven't forgotten that. Those were some great years. Yeah, when you have a couple thousand yards over there, great career there. But and I remember those days as well because I'm that age, so I can say that. Now, let me ask you. I've had Ernest Graham on my show. I've had Garth Jacks, both and former NFL players, and many, many others that spoke about how they had possible symptoms of CTE after they got done, in their career. They had some side effects, some depression, headaches, the things that go on with it. Have you had a lot of different signs? Because you're a running back, you get hit a lot. Have you had a lot of side effects from being hit a lot during your NFL career?
Yeah, it's a lot that goes on with that, and I forget a lot of stuff, but I don't really like to talk about it because it's something that I'm not gonna claim, but it's something that I go. So I don't even want to talk about it.
All right, that's fair enough. Now, how big was it, and how much did it mean to you becoming a member of the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame?
Oh, it's great, man, to be able to be recognized as one of the best to ever come through South Carolina, far as football wise, and it's a great honor. The South Carolina Football Hall of Fame, they have a great tradition that's starting to get going, and to be able to be amongst those guys, man, is great, man. It's one of the greatest things in the world. So I felt proud, and to being able to have my kids there, my wife there, and my friends, family. It was a great feeling.
Yeah. Now, do you still follow the Panthers? I'm sure. Season starts what a week from this weekend, a week from tomorrow, technically. How do you think the Panthers are going to do this year? How do you think the fans? A 17-game schedule. We have a new quarterback. Unbelievable receiving core. We know about our running back. We can't say enough about that. How do you think this team will do this year in the under Matt Rule?
Well, that's the thing with guys to kick in is the leadership. They got to have great leadership. They got all the skilled guys there, and the quarterback got to come out and do some of the things that they believe that he can do. And I don't doubt that 100%. So I think Carolina gonna have a good year, and they just got to be able to make the plays when they're given a chance to make the plays.
Yeah, and how about that defense? A young, pesky defense. A lot of people talking about him. I mean, this defense has potential. I mean, if they can start playing together, they could possibly be a top 10 defense in the league.
Yeah, they sure can, and I think with the young guys, they put me in the mind. They put me in the mind of the 2003 team, defensive team. So it's just you got to, like I say, you got to have the leadership. Who's gonna step up to lead them guys and get everybody to buy in what Coach Rule is doing. That's the key. Just buy into what the coach is doing and believe in the system, and everything else will work out itself.
How do you like watching you being a former running back? How is it to see another great Carolina running back playing Christian McCaffrey?
He's one of my guys that I've said is probably the best running back in the NFL right now. He does a lot of great things, man. Catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a receiver, great in space, can run between the tackles, and just one thing, he just got to stay healthy. I think if he stay healthy, he's gonna contribute. Give some great contribution to the game and everything, man.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Well, listen, Stephen, I want to thank you so very, very much for giving us your time tonight. I know you're busy doing things, and I want to thank you for coming on Frankly Speaking Panthers this evening.
Man, I appreciate you having me on here, man, and good luck with your show, and don't make this the last.
All right, my friend. Be safe, okay?
All right, you too. Thank you.
All righty.
All right.
Stephen Smith, the great all-pro running back from the Carolina Panthers. Okay, folks, we're going to take a quick station break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the vaccinations of COVID and the NFL. We'll be back right after this 15-second station break. You are watching Frankly Speaking Sports, live from Charlotte, North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Frankly Speaking Sports. And, what a great interview. Stephen Smith, we want to thank him I'm sorry, why did I say Stephen Smith? We talked about Steve Smith, me and him. Stephen Davis, just a great guy and a great interview with him. Okay, thank you. No, thank you, Stephen. We appreciate you coming on, my friend. Those of you who want to leave messages right now, you can go ahead and leave comments under the comment section. We'll try to get to your question or your comment, and we'll even put it on the air. Also, for those of you that want to go ahead and call in, we're going to open up the phone lines. We can take one call at a time. So here is the number. It's also on the bottom scrolling down. If you want to give us a phone call, go ahead and do so. We'd love to have you on. But we're going to talk about a topic. I'm going to put the phone so that we can hear it here. All right, in case anybody does call. But, one of the things that has been getting a lot of attention, a lot of people have been talking about, is the NFL. And I know it came down today out of Jacksonville where Urban Meyer made the comment about a player might have been let go due to the fact that he isn't vaccinated. And, for all of you people out there, and we did do a poll, and an overwhelming number of people says that the NFL should not be able to mandate whether a player gets the vaccination or not. I completely disagree with that. I will argue with that. I will disagree with people all night long, and I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons. A company has a right to implement any rules they want. The employee or prospective employee has a right not to work for that company if they don't like their rules and policy. Just like a football player has the right not to play for a team or a league if they choose not to. Okay, why wouldn't an owner want his players vaccinated? It's silly for them not to be from an owner's perspective. Now, I'm not going to sit here and get political and tell you what's right as far as, do people have a right to make a decision or not? But in this case, as an employee, they don't. They don't. You work for a company. You do what the company asks you for. If I am working at a company and a company says, Larry, you can't have a beard to work here, I either A, shave my beard, or B, go to a place that would allow me to have a beard. This is crazy, ludicrous, and ridiculous. And you know what? Urban Meyer may have slipped up and said something, but he is not the culprit here. He is right. As a coach, why? Let me give you a great example. Sam Darnold is the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. And I don't care right now, for the sake of argument, whether he's vaccinated or not. But let's just say, for argument's sake, he decides not to get vaccinated. Okay? He puts the whole brand, the whole organization, the whole team at risk of catching an illness because he is not vaccinated. What business is going to want to put themselves at risk and close down because of one individual that doesn't want to follow a rule that is mandated? Look at all the money that can potentially be lost by the organization. First of all, Sam would be out. Most likely every quarterback would be out because they all would work closely with them in the film rooms, plus what other players contracted. Okay, when you take a job, you decide that this job is the job for you and that you are going to follow all the procedures and policies are in place. The NFL has every right to implement anything that they want within realistic terms, and this is realistic. Okay? If I'm an owner, I don't want my entire team going down. I lose revenue, I lose ticket sales, I lose concessions, and whatever else you may lose. Okay? Now, if you're vaccinated and you get the illness, well, things happen, but you did everything in your power to prevent it. The problem here is this. We live in a society right now that believes that they have the right to make decisions no matter what. Nobody would ask these questions. Nobody would even think of questioning what their bosses would do 20, 25 years ago. Today, the employee thinks they have the right, when in return, it's the employer that has the right. And, I understand there is exceptions to every rule. Exceptions to every rule. There are going to be certain situations where people may not be able to do it for one reason or another. But at the end of the day, you're never going to get away from this illness if there are people unvaccinated. So at the end of the day, the business does have a right. I would tell any player, whoever the player is, whether it's Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, Tom Brady, or whoever, at the end of the day, you're working for me. You're going to do what I want you to do. If you don't want to do what I tell you to do, go work at a place that you want to do what they tell you to do. But you're not going to be working here. And every NFL owner, every NFL coach has the right to implement it. The only thing with implementation is there has to be consistency. You can't allow one and not the other, okay? And that's the way the NFL is going to be. They have to come down. You're finding teams doing it already. But to answer your question, and it was, I thought it was a terrific poll question. I couldn't believe how many more people thought, no, the owner, the business doesn't have a right to mandate it. Well, think about it. What business doesn't mandate procedures? They have to think of their business. What's best in the long run? And in this case, folks, we agree to disagree, as always on my show. I would love to see some comments. The phone lines are open. I know there's people on. I can see on different platforms on Facebook, YouTube, and I even see Twitch now. We have some people on. Call in, leave a comment at least, and we'll get to it. I really, really want to know your reasoning behind why you don't think a company has the right to mandate procedures and policies when it comes to this. It's just like a company mandates if you are sick, you should not come to work. Now, you may go to work, but the reason is because they don't want you to get everybody else sick. So it does make sense. It does make sense. It does make sense. That's my 2 cents on that subject. Would love to hear more. The phone number is up there. Please go ahead, call in, leave a comment. If it isn't on that subject, if you want to talk some NFL football, we got about 8 minutes left in the show. Love to know what you thought about the Stephen Davis interview. What do you think? How do you think the Panthers are going to do? We're going to talk next week in depth on the Panthers. We're going to break down more of the game. I want to let you know on. Let me just make sure. For those of you wondering what our schedule is like, next week, Monday night on Frankly Speaking Sports, he was the backup quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. He was in Super Bowl II, won the 1967 championship, the backup quarterback to Bart Starr of the Green Bay Packers, played for Vince Lombardi. We're going to have Don Horn on Frankly Speaking Sports Monday night. Tuesday night with my buddy Zach McKinnell on College Football Tuesday. We are very honored to announce, and it is now official, that we will be joined by former head coach of Texas A&M, Jackie Sherrill, who was also the athletic director, will be joining us live on College Football Tuesday. And then next Wednesday, right here on Frankly Speaking Panthers, we'll try every week to get a former player or someone who had a major impact on the organization of the Carolina Panthers. We'll be joined by former quarterback Steve Berline. So a very, very good week on Frankly Speaking Sports. This week, we got some college fans. The Buckeyes will take care of Minnesota, he thinks, this week. We talk college football on College Football Tuesday, but, this is a game, that, the Buckeyes should win, but there's a reason why you play the games. We're not going to get into college right now. Believe me, it is an unbelievable week here. If you live in the North Carolina area, I said we're not going to talk college football, but if you get a chance to go out, what some unbelievable games. I think it starts off with ECU and Appalachian State at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte tomorrow night. Also, NC State is hosting USF out of Tampa, Florida. Then on Friday night, you got the 49ers. UNCC is hosting Duke. And then, of course, as everybody knows, Saturday night, the big game, the game of the year so far, it's Georgia versus Clemson right here at Bank of America Stadium. So if you're a Panther fan, and you're on here, you're from Carolina area, you have a lot of football to choose from. These games, I'll tell you what, surprising, these tickets are not cheap. You knew the game, the Georgia Clemson game would be expensive, but my goodness, I'll tell you, the ECU Appalachian State should be a tremendous game, and they're looking for a hell of a crowd there tomorrow night as well. I want to wish all those teams the best of luck tomorrow. There is the call-in number. We'll leave it for a couple more seconds in case anybody wants to call in. We're 1 week away, folks. 1 week away. It starts next Thursday. You have the Dallas Cowboys visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the big question is going to be, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to have a Super Bowl hangover? Are the Dallas Cowboys ever going to be for real with that terrific offense they have? The only thing I'll say on that, folks, since we have a customer that's interested in that game, is from past history, if you're going to beat a Tom Brady team, you beat them in September. I remember, 3-4 years, maybe 4 years ago, the year after the Patriots beat the Jaguars to go to the Super Bowl, the next year, it was the second or third game in, the Jaguars hosted the Patriots, and the Jaguars just whooped up on the Patriots. Their defense destroyed Tom Brady, won the game, and then I don't think the Jaguars won another game the whole year. Meanwhile, I don't know if the Patriots lost another game the whole year. So if you're going to beat a Tom Brady team, the Cowboys are playing them at the right time. If everybody's healthy on that Cowboys team, and we'll talk more about this Monday night when we do our preview, but you never know in game one who prevails there in Tampa Bay. We got about 3 minutes left in our show right now. We're looking at the comments, seeing if we got any users. Stephen Davis says, thank you. No, thank you, Stephen. Great interview. We surely appreciate that. Let's see what else we got here. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone here. We already said hello to Jeff. Jeff, thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate that. But folks, it's here. The big week of college football this weekend. NFL starts, the greatest time of year. I tell people the two greatest times of year for me is start of football season, and it doesn't matter who plays in the Super Bowl. It's obviously better if my team makes it to the Super Bowl, but usually the Super Bowl is played 2 weeks before spring training and baseball starts. So it gets me excited about the beginning of baseball all over again. Monday night, once again, 9 p.m. Eastern time, all next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It is a long weekend. It is Labor Day weekend. So we want to wish everybody a happy Labor Day. And, just be safe, be smart. That way, Monday night on our NFL preview, we'll be able to see you all again and talk about, the NFL upcoming season. Like I said, we got Don Horn on. We're going to try to get a few other people from other areas. We'll try to obviously concentrate on the NFC South with the Falcons, the Saints, and the Buccaneers. So we'll try to get some of those guys on so we can see what they're expecting. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday night, 9 p.m. on another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports.